Welcome to Geek Philosophy, where we love geeky wisdom. If you're joining us for the first time, this is probably not new to you. Everybody that's a regular here to you, this might be a new view. We are doing our family live stream game. Well, not really live stream. We're recording it because we're family and we want to make sure we get a chance to edit if we need to. So we recorded this live because we are, and then we will put this out on our Guardians of Getica playlist. So we have our actual play that everybody can watch and see how our games go at home and take part in it. My name's Brian. You've seen me before if you've been around for a little bit. You've probably seen Crystal as well, so I'll introduce Crystal.
Hi.
There we go. And then Ethan, you may have seen on the channel a little bit here and there. Yep. So, hey, Ethan, how's it going?
Good.
Good. Awesome. So we are going to be running a actual play set of games. I hesitate to call it a campaign because while it will be a series and we're all going to be using the same characters, they're not necessarily linked one-to-one, one adventure to the next, and I'll explain more when we get into how Guardians of Getica works. But they can be, and we could have recurring characters that show back up, but it's not necessarily intended to be that way. But for the purposes of this channel, we'll call it our campaign, and it'll be on a playlist, so all of our videos will go there, and you'll get a chance to see how we actually play the game. This setting is really what we're talking about. So the Guardians of Getica setting is sort of a unique idea where kids and elders can perceive and remember and see and notice these beings known as frights that are sort of causing problems everywhere in the land. But those that are adults before their elder years can't see or perceive or even remember what happened when they were kids. So when you're a kid, you can see things, you can perceive the frights, and then you get to be an adult and you go, oh, I don't know what was going on there. I don't remember any of that stuff. I can't notice them anymore. And then again, when you get to be in your elder years, you start to remember the things that happened when you were young and you start to perceive things. So the idea is that the characters that are playing in the game, the player characters, the heroes of the Guardians are the young and the elderly working together to solve problems, tackle this problem known as the frights that nobody else really understands is going on. So it's sort of like this secret society of people helping to keep everybody safe. And that's what we're really talking about, is the setting. We are going to be using, when we play our game, we're going to be using our homegrown system called Lorekeeper. That is something that we put together. It's a very rules-light game system. It's not full-fledged Dungeons & Dragons or Pathfinder or any other systems. But you could use those. You could definitely use whatever game you like for the setting. The setting is really what we're trying to dive in with here. But if you see things that we do from a rules perspective that you're like, oh, that's not how it works in D&D, that's okay, because we're not really playing D&D. We're playing a different rule set here. So hopefully you'll enjoy that as we go through. Today we're doing our session 0. We've already played before, but it's good to level set and kind of talk about the rules because we have been iterating this over time and changing things up with Guardians since we started. And these two lovely people are the ones that really helped make this happen, because every idea that I had, they tested out. All of the games that we've had at home, these are really the people that helped me build what we've put together so far. So you could call them co-creators, you could call them playtesters, you could call them all kinds of things. I call them my family. So we are going to be working on our first session 0 today to talk about the game and also to dive into character creation. So we're going to be creating characters on this stream. The next video will be our first adventure, complete with a mission briefing from the Nexus board. So you'll see that, and Ethan actually hasn't had a chance to see that yet, so it will be brand new reaction when he gets a chance to look at it in our first session. So hopefully it's something everybody likes. All right, I've been talking too much. Let me just open the floor. Crystal, Ethan,
Yes.
Either of you have any thoughts to start with? I know both of you were kind of excited to kick this off, but anything that you're hoping that we get a chance to do today, or things that you want to talk about?
Oh man, I don't really know.
That's okay.
Well, I obviously want to go ahead and get through the character creation part.
I bet. Yeah. Crystal, how about you?
I'm definitely looking forward to kind of creating a new character and figuring out what she's like.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like you kind of, in
Yeah.
a lot of ways, develop your character over time, and sometimes you discover the character that you're playing as you play. It doesn't always have to be thought out in advance. It's fun to do that sometimes, but sometimes it just grows with you. Ethan, did you have any ideas of what you might want to play as far as characters go? We don't have to get into the details yet, but any ideas that you're toying around with?
Well, I am doing the protector class.
All right, we're already in there. Good.
Yeah.
So protector so far.
I kind of want to do Dragonborn, but I feel like I do Dragonborn. I think I might do Elf this time, actually.
Okay,
So-
awesome. And that's a really great, I'm glad you brought that up. So because we're not technically playing D&D or Pathfinder, if you come up with any other species that you feel like you just think of, we can sort of make that work for you. So I know we love 5e and Dungeons and Dragons and all that stuff, but if you come up with something that you think you want to do, now it should be fair for everybody. Like you don't want to have somebody that's like, well, my character is born from a tribe of people that can control everything. That wouldn't really be fair to everybody, right?
Yeah.
So within reason,
Finger.
yeah, exactly. So we don't want to go overpowered with what we're thinking, but if you come up with a fun idea, it doesn't necessarily have to be one of the major species from D&D or Pathfinder or some other game. You can just think up something if you want. So we'll get to that. So you can kind of keep that, in the back of your mind. But the idea is more around what you want your character to look like, what you think their personality would be. Those are the real big things that make a difference in the game. So, but yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So you don't have to play Dragonborn, but you certainly can play a Dragonborn character if you like. Absolutely. Crystal, did you have any ideas about like where you were going to go off the bat? We don't have to get into details yet, but
yeah, I definitely I always lean towards magic user. I struggle to pick anything else, especially if I get an inkling that other people in the group aren't, because I always feel like we need a healer or somebody who can throw a heal spell. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so I was thinking along the lines of something that, a character that does magic, and I'm going to go a little different, I think, on kind of what my character might look like, but she'll be older, but
awesome.
We'll see.
Okay, so you're going to go with the elder side of things.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, let's jump in, everybody. I'm gonna share my screen and we'll start talking about. So I have this sort of core rule set that I've put together as we've been playing, and the idea is, again, I wanted to have a set of rules that we could lean on and use for the game. But Guardians of Getica is not about the rule set; it's about the campaign setting. So again, you could switch this out and play 5e Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or any other tabletop role-playing game you like. So you can do pretty much anything you want from a rules perspective. The idea, though, is that the setting, it exists along your regular gaming setting. So we want to have a family-friendly game that kids can jump in and play. And this setting can be in the same world as your regular adult game that you've got with your friends. Teens and adults are playing something like Curse of Strahd and Forgotten Realms. Well, this could also be in Forgotten Realms, because the idea is this set of heroes forgets about what happened when they were young anyway, and then they move on, and then you can play the regular series of games. So this can become a generational thing. But from a rule set perspective, we're going to be really basic with some things, but still keep some of the essence of what you might find in a game like D&D. So you are going to need a set of dice. You're going to need a character sheet. You're going to need a game master. That's going to be me for this set of games. And you're going to need your imagination. We're really leaning in on this. The other idea is it helps people learn how role-playing games work, or at least a good chunk of role-playing games, how they work. So anytime someone tries something heroic, like you're going to climb a wall, you're going to fight a monster, you're going to do something, our main mechanic in the game is going to be the D20 roll. So that D20 roll is going to be used as the base for whether or not you succeed or not. But you are going to be comparing that to the difficulty class that's set by the game master. So, if something's pretty easy, it might be like a 5, or, that's very easy. It might be a 10 for, pretty much most people can do it. A little bit harder might be a 15, really hard might be a 20, and so on. So there's a target number that's set by the game master, and you're trying to reach that. Now, here's the thing. You have that d20 that you're going to be rolling, but you also have what are called proficiency dice. So rather than have just a point system, people love to roll dice. So we decided, let's just have your proficiency based on a die. So we've got, you start with a d4 as your proficiency bonus. So anytime you roll a d20, if you're proficient in whatever you're trying to do, so if you're proficient in magic, if you're proficient in fighting, if you're proficient in, sneaking around, then you also get to add the d4 along with it when you start. The dice gets higher as you go up in levels, but for right now, you get to actually add that proficiency dice as you go. Oh, by the way, I don't think I have it here, but we do use the advantage disadvantage mechanic. So if you have advantage, you get to roll your d20 twice and pick the better number. Then you would add your dice for the proficiency. So you get to, try the roll 2d20 and see which one's better and use that one. If you have disadvantage, then that means you have to use the lower of the two dice. But you still get to add your proficiency bonus because you're proficient. So today we're going to be talking about, and because Crystal and Ethan have already done this before, they already know what they're going to be doing. But in this system, there are 3 basic roles. You've got Protector, Explorer, and Keeper. Protector, think more fighter, warrior type. Explorer, think rogue, ranger, exploring, scouting out the wilderness or the urban setting. That's fine too. And then Keeper is our catch-all for magical characters. So think mage, druid, cleric, anything that has to do with magic. And so this is sort of a way of learning how to play those types of roles. You'll get a chance to pick some abilities, and when we go through this, it'll all make sense. You choose you choose one in addition to the 2 that are given by your role. You get a chance to pick some gear, and then describing your heroes. So we're going to do all of that stuff right now. We're going to start into, let's get the ideas for things. So let's recap what these classes are, just to give you an idea of what you're already getting. So Ethan, you said you were going to go with Protector. So that means that you've got martial prowess that gives you extra power in your attacks. You've got battle tactics, which means that you're better at planning fights and, being very creative with your tactics. And then you also have protective presence, which makes you, give a bonus to your friends when they're in danger, basically. So you get to start with armor and a shield. Most people only get to start with armor, but because you're a protector, you get a shield as well. And then you still get to pick some stuff. So let me just pause there and see, Ethan, does that make sense to you? Still want to go with protector?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. And then Explorer, like I mentioned before, they lead the way. So precision strike, adaptive strategist, they're good at coming up with creative solutions. They get armor and rope and climbing gear. I'm going through that one quickly because Crystal wanted to be a keeper. So the keeper is the wise and magical guide. So they have magical training. So that means that keepers can use magic spells. They get some bonus spells so that you get to start with a couple spells automatically, like minor magic and mend wounds. And they get some extra gear. So they already get the armor, but they also get a lore book, which helps you learn more about the world. So you're still good with Keeper, Crystal?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. I think this is a good chance to jump over to the character sheet. You guys have some there that you can work on too. Let's start first with Protector and Ethan. So, Ethan, we've got the roles, pretty much set here. You stand strong, you shield your friends, you defend the innocent, and you're a symbol of courage. So that's kind of what your character is going to be as far as like the idea of that role. But that doesn't tell you your personality yet. That's just what you're going to do, right? Like as far as the role you play in the group. So let's think about some things here. And it's already checked for you on your sheet, I think. You already get our armor. And I don't think we have it on here. Maybe I need to make sure it shows up. But you also have a shield. I think it's in your other equipment somewhere, hopefully. Let me see. Do we have it?
Yeah. I don't think
there it
we
is.
have those
Guardian
pages.
Shield. Yeah, I just need
Yeah.
to make sure you check that. So check that for free. So Guardian Shield, you get to check. You've got armor. So now you get 3 items that you're going to take with you. Now here's the thing. You can switch these up each mission. Make sense?
Ooh, so basically so you choose your loadout for each mission which you think is fit.
That's right.
Okay.
So you get to choose what you, but for fun, let's pick the ones you think are the most useful for you, that you want to like as your default. Like, it doesn't mean you can't change these when we play next time. So if anybody's watching and something is different on his character sheet, that's okay, because we're telling him he can change it. But go ahead and check off Guardian Shield. You got that for free. So those 2. So now you get 3 other things that you can take with you. What do you think you want to take with you?
Well, I was thinking about this earlier. I might go with the sword.
Awesome.
The starry sword.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that off.
Love it. Astari, for those of you that are new to the Guardians of Getica setting, so Astari, a steel, or Asteri, depending on how you want to pronounce it, is long ago, we don't know when, there was this huge meteor that landed in the Ironwood Forest next to the Royal Academy where the Guardians of Getica is based. And this metal is then been worked into the arms and armor and equipment of the Guardians. And Asteri Steel and Ironwood, because that forest was imbued with the power of the Astari Steel, like it got into the ground. So when the roots of the trees were, taking some of the minerals in from that Asteri Steel, the Ironwood also became imbued with this ability to fight the frights. So Asteri Steel and Ironwood are tools that can be used in addition to magic to banish frights. So just giving everybody a heads up about what that type of stuff is. On its own though, it's not necessarily magic. It's just a type of metal that happens to be really good against frights. So I love the fact that you're going with the sword.
Yeah. Can I change how the sword kind of looks, like what type of sword it is? I mean, if it's a long sword, short sword. So what I'm thinking of is doing a short sword almost, but not super duper small, because I don't want to do a long sword where I can't hold my shield, because I also want to hold my shield as well.
Perfect.
So
yeah, you can make your sword look however you want. You can think about it and describe it however you want it to be.
Ooh, okay. Ooh.
Yeah. I want you to use your imagination on this stuff. You describe your character. You describe what's there. And as a matter of fact, you helped make the sword that you carry.
Yeah. Ow.
Yeah.
I hate something.
Healing potion, please.
So what I'm thinking of for the blade is almost so obviously there's the main part that is keeping everything together, but instead of one whole straight thing and it's all put together, I'm thinking of almost shards kind of coming out barbed, like a barbed sword or something.
Okay, cool.
Pretty much. And for I don't know. Yeah, that's really what the most iconic part that I want for my blade to be is that barb, it just having spikes,
it's serrated
on the edge. Yeah, but
cool,
really big serrations where it looks like shards awesome. Coming out.
Nice.
So that's what I want for my sword. My guardian shield. I kind of want those what are those rectangular shields called? I don't know what they're called.
They're kite shield. No.
I mean, the kite shield's fine, but it's the I can't remember what it's called, but I think they use them in the the Roman Empire or something. It was just a giant rectangular shield. I don't know what it's called.
Okay.
That's what I want my shield to look like. And that's really all I want for my sword and the shield. So I have 2 more things left.
Right.
Can I have a secondary weapon if I'm disarmed?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking of going with the starry dagger for a secondary weapon if I get disarmed.
Okay. Sounds good.
and I'll do the. Okay, I have a question. What is in the Guardian lore book, by the way?
That's a good question. So the Guardian lore book is a collection of the stories and the information that has been passed down from Guardian to Guardian. So the Guardian lore book is sort of a journal of like other people that have been out on missions and learned about frights and taken notes about certain frights. And so it doesn't mean that the lore book is going to have the information, but when you do your check, you might find information that helps you figure out something about what's going on. So it's sort of a way of helping you investigate. So maybe you find pieces of information in that lore book, and the higher you roll on your check when you do that, the better chances you are of figuring something out that's connected to what you're working on. But sometimes it's just not in the book. Sometimes it's just not there, which is one of the reasons, I'm glad you asked this, that you're going on these missions too, right? Because you're going to be collecting this information. Yeah, that's right. And then you're gathering this information to pass down to other people and collect in the lore book. It's really important because when people forget, if they have it written down, those people that can read it and recognize it and understand it can then get that information. Yep. Yeah. So it's much better for elders that come back. They can go back and reread things that maybe they wrote when they were a kid that they just didn't understand anymore, but now they can understand it and they realize what it's there. So it's a good question. So it's a good piece of information. Now, Crystal, you're going to have one of those as part of your thing, but it doesn't mean you can't have each person have one. It's whatever you want to do. So think about what you want to have for your other item. And we can change these before we start too.
I actually might think that I might do the Guardian lore book because I want to, whenever we go on missions, I kind of want to use it like whenever, like what you were talking about, like when we fight frights, we write things down, like weaknesses, what they look like draw images, basically. That's the purpose that I want, like, for the lore book, for me to, like, if, basically like a bestiary almost, but for frights.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so you're keeping all that information there, which makes sense, especially for your tactics as a protector, that you're going to want to gather that tactical information that you need to combat the frights. Awesome. Let's pause there for a second as you think through what you're doing. I will mention that right below that, this is where you may want to put some notes about your character. We'll come and circle back to that before we move on to the other section. But I do want to scroll down and let Crystal kind of go through her piece from the keeper perspective. So again, keepers are preserving that guardian lore, they're weaving magic, they're guiding with wisdom, and they're healing and empowering their friends. So you again start with that armor, and I think you start with the lore book as well, right? That was the,
yes,
if I remember right. Okay, so you can check those for free, and then you get the 3 other items that you can choose for your character.
So I think I would like an ironwood staff.
Awesome.
And I can use that as my spell casting or fighting, both.
You can, that's right. So ironwood staff is nice because in addition to using it for casting your spells and assisting with your magic, you can also use it to hit things. And because it's ironwood, it works well against fright. So yeah, it's a good choice for a 2-in-1 where you're getting a magical focus and a weapon.
Okay. I would also like to have the backpack and torches.
Very good. Very good. I like it. We've got some torches there.
What?
I'm sorry.
We have the. It looks like your familiar also showed up.
A cat.
Yeah, your familiar showed up, Mother.
Yep. So
hi, Romeo.
Our familiar Romeo will be. It's really funny, just for everybody watching too. Like I would have loved to be able to do this just at a table, but the logistics of filming and audio and all that kind of stuff of us sitting around playing at the kitchen table like we normally do, it just made it easier for us to do it at the computer. So we're literally just sitting in other rooms of our house recording this right now. So even though so that cat may show up on all of our cameras at some point, who knows? So
I just come up here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's like
Well,
my
I guess
friend.
mine. He won't on mine because my door's closed. But all right, so good deal. So let me scroll back up. All of these, by the way, all of this. The PDFs are going to be available when you join the mailing list that we have. You can download this content. So those of you that have not yet done so, head over and check out guardiansgetica.com and join the playtests, and you'll get the material and things like that. We're also launching a Patreon where we're going to have a lot of our mission briefing stuff and the adventures and maps and character art that goes with it. So sort of an adventure kit for each one of the missions that we put together. So you'll be able to get those there. Patreon will also have things like early access to videos. We may do some live streams where you can chat with us and things like that. So check that out for more information. But back to this. So anything you want to talk about with like your vision for the character yet, Ethan, as far as like what you think your character is going to look like, and or are you still working on that?
So when you said like I can pretty much like use my imagination, pretty much like create him how like pretty much anything almost.
Pretty much, yeah.
It just sort of clicked whenever I thought of it in my mind. I thought like not thought but like as soon as you said that I was like I want to do a guy that transforms into part dinosaur.
Okay, so part dinosaur, part human. So does that mean that? That's awesome. So does that mean that still like stands up humanoid arms and legs, but sort of takes on the shape of a dinosaur, or does that mean like turns into like
No.
like dinosaur?
Not full, but like
Okay,
he would have the features like the claws and everything and like the teeth almost, but like not like full like structured like full-fledged dinosaur, like
got it.
just like humanoid but like have dinosaur features basically.
Would he grow a tail?
Yes, he would.
Okay, so tail, but his arm or his hands is like he could still use weapons and use all the stuff.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. No, I love it. Let's do it. So, so that's visual, and you can get into more detail about what you want him to look like as far as the type of dinosaur, all that kind of stuff. But what about personality? Like, what do you think he's like when he's like hanging out with his friends, or does his personality change when he transforms, or is it the same all the time?
So what I want to do is whenever he's in this is like like actual human form, like not dinosaur human form. Like he's a good like genuine guy. He's funny. Like he likes to like play board games. He likes to have fun a lot.
Okay.
But when he's in his dinosaur form, I'm thinking of doing a velociraptor, and the reason is because whenever he's turned into that, he becomes smarter and more cunning
Oh,
and
interesting.
quicker.
I like it. So it's not like what's cool about that is like it's not so much like all the physical stuff. Like he gets more tactical and cunning because velociraptors were like that too. Oh, I get it. That's awesome. I like it. Very cool. Let's head down to take a look at your keeper. So, Crystal, what are you thinking as far as like appearance and personality and things like that?
I think that we're gonna look like a funny group because I was thinking of being a bunny.
Oh, like so got it. So the bunny and the dinosaur. This sounds like
It sounds like a folk tale story.
This is what's great is it's like how one of the things, and this is for everybody that's not as familiar, so part of the way that the Guardians protect the people is they start lore, they start songs, they put riddles out there. So think about all the nursery rhymes and old wives tales and superstitions that we have in the real world. Well, the Guardians will spread those because those types of information may help ward against frights. Like they come up with songs and riddles and poems and superstitions that actually do protect you against the frights, but that's their way of getting it into the world, because again, most adults don't remember. So it just made me think about things like the tortoise and the hare and all those things. Well, now we have the bunny and the dinosaur.
Yes.
That could end up being a story, just like the tortoise and the hare was a fable. Who
Yes.
knows what your story is going to end up being, but I guess we'll see as we
I'm
play.
eating
The
mother.
bunny and the velociraptor.
I'm kidding.
So do you think so let me ask you, Crystal, is it bunny meaning like you are literally the small bunny, or is it you are bunny like humanoid?
Yeah, bipedal, bunny humanoid.
Like Usagi Jimbo from
Yes.
Ninja
Yeah, exactly
Turtles.
like
Yeah.
that. Mhm.
Gotcha. Okay. So more along the size of that type of character, like, like 4 or 5 feet tall, or a little
Yeah,
smaller,
Maybe 5 feet or so. Not
with
super
the
small,
ears.
but
Yeah.
yes.
Awesome. Okay. So what's the personality like are they always worried about the time? Are they Yeah.
No,
No.
not White Rabbit.
Not the White Rabbit? No.
Yeah, not the White Rabbit. She is a little bubbly, a little airheaded, I think. Always kind of like, on the like bouncing her toes. She's older, but still very agile for, an older bunny.
Love it.
And yeah, and so I do want her to have hair. I know that most bunnies don't necessarily have whatever, but I would like her to have. She's gonna be dark fur, and then I want her to have like dark hair, but with like a white streak in the front.
Oh, okay.
So,
Gotcha. So the hair with hair. So like you're gonna have
yes, the hair
like
with hair.
yeah, that's awesome. I love it. And so you kind of covered personality a bit there, and this is an elder. So let me ask you, and you don't have to answer this now if you haven't thought about it, but how do you think your character would be triggered to remember? She's already at the right age, but what triggered her to remember the things that happened with the Guardians and the youth, like with the frights? Like what made her go, oh, and that was the awakening moment where she started to remember everything again?
So I think of her like she is like a potionist or an alchemist.
Okay.
And so I think maybe she was just working in her shop one day and things just got really messed up. And then, she got to a certain age and she started being able to see maybe shadows in her workspace or things going missing, or, and then she started seeing these weird figures that then made her remember from when she was younger about being a young guardian.
Awesome. I love it. I think this is it's a good, and that segues into what my question was going to be. So before we start filling out your whole character sheet, Ethan, let me pull it up. One of the things I want you to think about, so just the way where your mom was talking about like how her character remembered things, what I want you to think about, and you can tell me if you've already thought about it, but if not, we can do this later. I want to know what made your character decide to join the Guardians, because all kids can see frights, right? But not all of them end up joining the Guardians. So like, and you don't have to answer this now, Ethan, but if you think about it and figure out like what made them decide, I want to do something about this and I'm going to join the Guardians. So, but while you're thinking about that, let's take a look at your character sheet. So we've got everybody starts with, I think it's 15 when we do hit points.
I believe so too.
I believe so. So go ahead and write 15 in there if you don't mind, just to make sure that we've all are on the same page. So both of you can do that piece if you'd like. Now, armor class. So Without armor, your armor class is a 10. But Ethan, you have armor and a shield. So the armor brings it up to 13 and the shield brings it to 15.
Ooh.
So that means that
I'm a
anybody
beefy
has to
boy.
roll a 15 or better to get through your armor, right? So to hit you. So that's pretty good. Now, you can do the way, and this applies to both you and Crystal. So this goes to anybody that's playing with our system here. I want to make sure that we call this out though. In a tabletop role playing game like this one, you can try anything you want pretty much. You're describing what your character thinks, what they want to do. So when I'm talking about standard actions here, I'm talking about actions that occur during an encounter, meaning something has started. And what I mean by that is I will tell you to roll initiative, or I will tell you that a challenge has started. But if you're just walking around and you're talking to people, you can try whatever you want to try. You can do all your abilities. It's not a big deal. But when we're in the middle of having rounds of something, these are the things that you can do each round. So you can try 3 of these things on your turn whenever we're in turn order. That means you can attack, cast a spell, do some sort of creative action, something that's not on this list that you just think of that you want to do. You can try that. You can help a friend, hide, search, move, use an item, or defend. But here's the thing. You can do 3 things. So that means you could attack. You could attack, move, attack. You could help a friend, help another friend, and help a third friend. So you can do any combination of these things that you want. So this becomes very kind of a cool way to tactically think about stuff, because some of these things will give people advantage. So, for example, when you help a friend, that gives your friend advantage, which means they get to roll those 20s twice and take the better one. But if you also defend, then the enemy has disadvantage. So that means it's harder for them to hit you, right? So you could use both of those, right? And a third thing. So I just want you to think about this. It doesn't seem like a ton of things to do, but it's actually a bunch of things that you can do every round on your turn. Here's the thing though, frights are tricky, and frights have all kinds of different mystical abilities, so they probably can do this and more. So it's going to still be challenging, but these are the things that you can do, and anybody can try these things. If you're proficient in any one of these things, you get to add your proficiency dice. So if you go down a little bit on your character sheet, both of you are going to have a D4, that's the pyramid looking one, as your proficiency dice. So anytime you try to do something and you're proficient, then you get to add that dice to your roll. And you get to choose 3 of your skills right now. So you can pick 3 of these things. So take a look and let me know if you have any questions about what these skills are. Most of them are self-explanatory, but if there's a word you don't understand, or if you're not sure how it works, acrobatics, arcana is magic type stuff. Culture is things that have to do with the society that is there. So that could be the government, the people, anything that has to do with cultural stuff. Fortitude is toughness, basically. Insight is understanding the way someone thinks, or perceiving how they may, have an attitude about certain things, or what they might believe. Medicine, self-explanatory. Perception is being able to see and view things. So I'm just giving you a few. Anything else on here that you're not sure about?
Not really. But I do have one thing to say.
Sure.
Because I remember last time the game, like the family game that we have here, where we play on the dining table.
Mm-hmm.
My claw. I mean, I know my claws. I think my claws still did damage, but it wasn't really imbued with anything, because this time, so kind of Wolverine almost. Whenever I turn into my dinosaur form, my claws have tips of a starry metal on the ends of them, and with my teeth and my toe claws also, kind of like that.
So you're saying that because you want your claws to be able to do damage against frights.
Yeah, not just
Gotcha.
like, normal claws can do damage to frights and there's no explanation for it.
So I love it. I think it's a good idea. I have an idea, and you just want to throw this out there. What
I
if?
have an idea as well.
I bet it might be the same idea. So Crystal,
Maybe
you
so.
tell me your idea.
I would brew a potion that he could take that would allow his claws to do damage. Or
That is a different idea than me. So
him, or yeah.
I love it. Yeah, we should go with that. My idea was going to be that you could work with Crystal to work with something to create a nail polish that goes on your nails. That has little bits
That's
of a starry
funny.
metal in it, and then that
That's
way you can
awesome.
apply it, and then when
mean-
you turn, it's got it on there.
Polish, potion,
Yeah, whatever. I mean, you two
something
decide
that
how
he
you want to do
puts
it.
on them.
Yes.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
a material dinosaur.
You can do it
Whatever
however
color
you like.
would like, honey.
Yes, exactly. Well, and you can do like metallics, right? Like, so you could make them
Yes.
be like that color or whatever. You do the potion idea. So I think it's a great idea, Ethan. You two can come up with the way that you're gonna work together to make that happen.
I can come up with
So-
a lacquer.
Yeah. And I think it's completely fair because you're not saying you're trying to do extra damage. You're just saying you want to do the same damage that your weapon would. So no, that's fine.
I kind of want to do like, well, I don't know about the two of those ideas, but what I was thinking was like kind of like in my lore, when the elders and the board, like the Nexus board or whatever that is. Well, I don't know what that is, but whenever
I can
the
tell you what
elders-
that is.
Oh, okay. What is it?
So then a Nexus board is like a bulletin board that you can go and see things, but it's magical. So when you see a message, sometimes the text on the message will turn into different things and show you like information. So it's more of like a magical board, similar to like when you see like Harry Potter and all the things, the pictures move on the page, but even more so than that, like where things will actually change because you're the one seeing it. And so the message can go directly to you. So it's a way for like, you can be in a town if they have a message board or a Nexus board, you could get a message there from Guardian headquarters about like what your mission is.
Okay, well, never mind about the next sports thing. What I was thinking was whenever the head elders of the Guardians of Getica knew that I could like shapeshift kind of into a part dinosaur, they had this idea that they would get the blacksmith to make some liquid starry metal, and then they would dip my claws into the metal.
Love it. Let's do that. Yeah, that's great.
All
So,
right.
but when you change, what happens? Because does it go back in? Like, how does it work?
So yeah, it kind of goes back like when it
Like
only
Wolverine,
happens
kind of?
whenever. Yeah, pretty much like Wolverine, where like it's
Okay.
only whenever I'm in that form
Okay.
that it comes out.
I love it. Let's do it. That's pretty great. Okay, so
Sounds good.
So having said that, we've got some ideas for some special things that you got. Think about your skill proficiencies. What are the 3 that you want to use as a protector, or Crystal, you can do this at the same time as a keeper, and go ahead and mark those down and let me know what you decided.
Okay, so I already have Arcana as a proficiency under my special abilities.
Awesome. So you get
So I was,
that.
yeah.
You can do 3
So-
more. Yeah.
So I was thinking, in addition to Arcana, acrobatics because she's a bunny.
Oh yeah.
Medicine because of the background with potions and the alchemy.
Yep.
And then I'm kind of torn between either doing endurance or survival.
Okay. Well, I think either one of those is good.
So, can you explain to me a little bit more what the difference is between endurance and survival?
So endurance is more like physical endurance, keeping pace, uh, you know, how much you are physically able to fend off exhaustion and things like that. Whereas survival is more skills in nature, in developing best practices, understanding how things work from that perspective. We and for those of you watching, because we are still testing some of this stuff out, we may end up condensing this list down if we think that there's too much overlap. So we'll go with what we think for now, and if we change stuff later, we change stuff later.
Okay, I'm gonna go with endurance then.
Awesome.
Just because she's a prey animal, in for lack of a better word, but she's got a lot of endurance to just keep going.
Very good.
And a lot of energy and stamina, kind of endurance. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, kind of like our bunny that we keep seeing out by our house. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
I've never seen it, but y'all have seen it.
I know.
Okay, so I think acrobatics, arcana, medicine, and endurance for me.
Very good. Ethan, what about you?
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, since I'm like part raptor, like I'm quick, right? So I'm doing acrobatics, but then I'm still part animal, like still part dinosaur. So I'm doing nature, and since I'm cunning, I'm doing persuasion.
Very good. Love it.
Ooh. Did you have anything under your special abilities that gave you proficient?
Great point. I was just about to go into those. So, no, you're good. You're good. So let's look at special abilities now. So you, as a protector, have martial prowess. So that means martial prowess means that you get to add that D4 to any weapon attack that you make. Okay. So that makes it easier for you to hit things with weapons. You also get to add your proficiency dice to your initiative rolls, so your battle tactics, which makes it easier for you to go first in combat. But protective presence also gives you proficiency dice to a friend's AC within 5 feet. So what that means is if you are sticking close to your partners, then they also get to add, you roll your proficiency dice and they get to add that to their armor class. And as long as that you're in 5 feet of them. Now, if you move away from that, then you don't get that bonus, because it's basically like you're saying, like you're there close by to be able to distract or to block attacks and do things that make it harder for someone to hit your friend. So as long as you're nearby, you get that. But you also get to choose one other ability. So you can choose Explorer Stealth, Keeper's Arcane Insight, or Keeper's Healing Touch. So with Explorer Stealth, that gives you an extra proficiency in stealth. If you do Keeper's Arcane Insight, then you get proficient in the Arcana skill, so you understand more about magic. And if you do Keeper's Healing Touch, you can cast the Mend Wounds spell. So which one of those three do you want to use for your character?
Okay, so I immediately get the martial prowess, battle tactics, and protective presence, correct? Like I already got those.
Yeah. All of those are yours as a protector, but then you also, because you work with so many of the other roles, you get to choose one of these three as an extra ability. So that's why there's a little check mark by them. You pick which one of those you want.
I think I'm going to do Explore Stealth.
Awesome. So then if you check that off, then you also get to check the stealth proficiency. So if you already have that, pick a different one.
Wait,
so if you've already checked off stealth as one of the ones you already chose, you didn't?
No. Oh, I think I got... Oh, wait. Okay, I put acrobatics, nature, and persuasion.
Okay, perfect. So then you get, now if you choose Explorer Stealth, now you also get stealth. Perfect. Okay. There you go. All right, good. Let me scroll down to the keeper sheet. Same thing here. So for Crystal, so you've got magical training, so you know how to cast spells. You get a bonus spell of two of them actually, minor magic and mend wounds automatically, and you're proficient in Arcana. And then you get to choose one of these three. Explorer Stealth is an option. Explorer's Adaptive Strategist, which that gives you proficiency dice when you try to do a creative action. And then the last one is Protector's Battle Tactics. So just like Ethan has Battle Tactics, it gives you a chance to pick up one of those Protector skills.
I think I want to do the Adaptive Strategist.
Very
so
cool.
I get proficiency on my creative actions.
Yep.
Ooh,
so that means anytime you do a creative action roll, you get to add that skill proficiency
D4.
bonus dice to it. So that's awesome.
That's
Now,
awesome.
Here's some common, underneath it just lists some common things. It doesn't mean you have all of them. It's just giving you some common things. Every weapon that you have, for the most part, is all going to do 1d6 damage. Most spells are all going to do 1d6 damage. That's the six-sided cube that people have been using as dice forever, pretty much. The reason that we're doing it that way is just it makes it much easier to streamline the game. The damage is the same. I roll damage the same way, so if there's attacks, I'm rolling 6s too. So I try to make it pretty fair. So we're hitting with a 20-sider. We are adding proficiency dice, and then our damage is the d6. That's just a very streamlined way to do it for this game. Now, I also mentioned for the Keeper, here's your spell list. So you get to add 3 additional spells. Minor Magic is checked, and Mend Wound is already checked for you. So you can go through and pick the 3 that you would like. Each time you level up in the game, you will get another spell. So you will add 1 to it.
That's overpowered.
So I think I would like to go with... So can we a little reflavor my quick step? Instead of being a teleport, can it just be like really fast bunny speed?
However you want to do it, sure.
So I think I'm going to go with quick step, flame burst, because I'm thinking about her as a character. You know, she brews potions, so I'm thinking having like a heat spell so that, you know, if I need to heat a potion or do something like that, she would have already had that in her repertoire, and she can use it to now defend if she needs, or be offensive if she needs to. And
Very
then
good.
I think the other one will be, I don't know, I'm kind of torn. I'm torn on doing Nature's Bind or Animal Call, because she is a bunny. But
you can always think about it. You don't have to decide now. If you think you want to mull it over, that's
okay.
fine. Yep. Awesome. All right. And then last thing, and this is just something I just want to mention. You guys are already aware of this, but more for people that aren't familiar with Guardians. This is something that we do at the end of a session. So Guardians earn badges. So you, similar to like a scouting organization has, you know, certain requirements to reach certain badges. This is a similar type of situation. So when you get back from your mission, because the way we run the games is mission starts with a mission briefing. You go on the mission. Whether you succeed or not, you return back to headquarters at the end of the mission and you debrief, meaning you talk about what happened, you record any lore that you might have learned, what did you find out. If you help people, that's great. But this is the time when you do that debriefing session where you check off any things that you might have done. Remember, spreading the message, reconnecting with the elders, and protecting the realm. Those 3 things are the Guardian's pledge. That's what you decided you were going to pledge to do when you became a Guardian. So spreading the message is your way of sharing the information with people, getting the word out about what's going on to protect people from frights. Reconnecting with the elders are finding those people that are now elders, that are now remembering things, and reconnecting so you might learn some things from them that they started to remember. Plus, it lets them know that they're still part of the mission. And then protecting the realm is what it says. We're trying to make sure that the frights are not going to take over, and that we're going to do what we can to help everybody. So each one of these categories has a number of badges that you can earn. So if you've done those things during the mission, you check off one of the boxes. When you get 3, you've earned the badge. right? So by getting all 3 under one of the categories through your missions, then that's a way of earning the badge. And then you record any of the information that you've gained, any lore about the frights, interesting information so that other people won't forget what you've learned. And this is what we do each time we go on some crazy adventure. We figure out if we have met our goals and earn some progress towards our badges. So that's kind of what we do for making the characters and putting it together. How are you feeling about the character, and are you ready for the next game, do you think?
I feel like I'm ready.
I'm excited.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think this will be good. You guys have been playing for a while. We actually had a chance to play. It's been over almost a year now, if not a little bit less than a year. We went and played at a local gaming store. Ethan had some friends that came and played with us, and we put the word out for others at the gaming shop, and we had an in-person game there that was a lot of fun, and everybody got a chance to do an earlier version of what we have here, but it was pretty well received. It seemed like everybody had a good time playing. There's also several of you that have been on our live streams as we were working on this, that have been playing at home with your own families or friends and sending messages. So really appreciate all the work that you guys did at your own home games. But yeah, I'm excited about it too. Anything before we close out that either of you want to share, or anything that you've got on your side that we didn't cover that you want to talk about?
Not really.
I don't think. I mean, I came up with a name, but other than that,
I want to hear it.
She's gonna be Wisteria Flufferton.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Wisteria with a W or
with a W?
Okay,
like the plant. Yeah.
I love it.
Oh man. Oh.
Yeah, you have to think of yours, huh? That's okay. You don't have to.
Yeah, hold on.
All right, you can take your time.
I'm thinking of it right now.
Okay.
I'm just thinking of a last name.
Okay.
Ooh. Mine is gonna be Evan Dragonclaw.
Dragonclaw?
Nice.
I like it. Yeah, Evan Dragonclaw. And what was her name again?
Wisteria Flufferton.
Wisteria. Sounds like a name from Harry Potter, to be honest.
It's a tongue twister. We can call her Wisty.
Wisty
Flufferton and Evan Dragonclaw. I'm going to have a nightmare trying to say those the right way as I play, which will be fun. So, all right.
At least it's not fluffer stuff.
Yeah.
Fluffer nutter.
Fluffer nutter. Yeah. All right, fluffies. You guys have...
I'm not a fluffy.
Well, I'm just glad that we get a chance to play these games. We're going to be releasing some really soon, so you guys stay tuned. Yes. And it was good talking to everybody, and thanks for sticking with us. Have a good night. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.